All right, Rob, let's get into it. The Aaron Rodgers story, just, it was the big talk on a lot of shows today, and we talked about it on First Things First. You and I got to it last night, but there's more. And now, according to the Daily Mail,
so that's the Daily Mail.
They have some decent. It's out of the UK. But it's reputable. But anyway, they have a quote from somebody apparently close to the situation. Here's how they set it up. They say the Daily Mail is reporting, they say exclusively, all right, that the Jets are upset with Rodgers and say it's, quote, ridiculous to think he could be campaigning and playing football at the same time. Here's what the source says, Rob. Lots of the Jets coaches and players want Aaron to commit to the team and worry about winning the Super Bowl over a chance to be in the White House. Aaron and Robert aren't going to win, but for Aaron to consider helping run the country over playing for the team has many with the Jets all upset because you have to pick one or the other. He can't be campaigning through the week and then playing the Dolphins the following weekend. It's ridiculous. When Aaron is retired, he can do whatever the heck he wants. I inserted heck. The Jets aren't paying him not to play. The team has already had to accept and take on his various controversial beliefs and comments, and to add a political career to the situation is exactly the distraction the team wants no part of at all. Last sentence. There's only enough leash they can give and offer Aaron, and they want him to be a teammate and not a running mate. Rob, your thoughts?
The Jets are 100% to blame, not Aaron Rodgers. When you went out and you signed Aaron Rodgers, Chris Broussard, this is what you get. Aaron Rodgers has been very transparent. This is who he is. Everybody knows about it. He goes on, what's the show? Pat McAfee. He's got something to say. It's always some little controversy or whatever it is, or against the grain. This is who he is.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, this is who he is,
like
Chris.
You just waited for
yeah,
what did he say today?
Exactly. That's what he turned into with the Pat McAfee show. So the Jets have gone through this. He's going to wind up being Brett Favre, probably one and done, and then saying, well, you did it already before with a Packers great quarterback, and it might happen again. I don't know what else to say other than to say you can't marry an alcoholic, and then you'd be surprised when he wants to stop off to the liquor store on the way home. This is who Aaron Rodgers has become, Chris, over the last few years of his career. They knew that when they signed up for him, and I'm not surprised that there's yet something else brewing or something else yet to talk about, something other than football. This is who he's become.
Well, look, the quote from the anonymous source, whoever that may be,
it sounded
right on the money.
It almost sounded too good to be true. And I'm gonna tell you,
it was perfect, wasn't it?
Chris,
I'm not saying I have no idea. I'm definitely not saying it's not true.
Chris,
but it was a perfect quote. It was right on the money.
It's always scary too. You know this in journalism. Sometimes when the quote is perfect and fits, he said, "We want him to be a teammate, not a running mate." Like that part right there sound like that ain't no quote. That's written.
I don't know, but it is a perfect quote, right?
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's right. They are right. It is ridiculous. And if he thinks that he can play football and run for vice president, he's lost his mind. That right there. I mean, he not gonna win. I doubt he is the running mate, but if he was, I don't think they'd win. But just the fact that someone would think they could do both, that right there's enough not to vote for him. Because they're not practical. All right? And look, Rob, I'm going to say this. At 40 years old, who knows what Aaron Rodgers' aspirations are. But them coming to him and, when what we've seen over the last few years of him and his quotes and his interests and things like that, I'm not surprised they came to him and he's like, you know what? Man, maybe.
But
and I don't
that's
blame
my
him
point.
I don't
That's
blame him for looking it over, mulling it over if that's what he's doing or considering it. Now, if this were Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, somebody that's young and starting their career, even if it were Aaron Rodgers at that point in his career, I think they'd be, I'm a football player, maybe when I'm done playing, but right now I'm a football player. I think that would be the case. But I don't have an issue with him, considering this. And as we said yesterday, Rob, it'll be over in a couple of weeks, right? If they say he's not the guy, then we don't have an issue. They still got plenty of time to get ready for the season. And a guy that has other interests, there's no problem with having other interests. And I think he'd be fine to play.
That's why the quote to me is strange. And I'm not saying it's made up or phony or whatever. But, Chris, if I'm the Jets, and I said this yesterday, if he's going to announce his running mate in 2 weeks, this is a non-issue until Aaron Rodgers says he's going to be vice president. To me, I wouldn't comment at all because nothing's happening right now for the next 2 weeks. Nothing.
I think the challenge is it is free agency. And this is now I hear you. It can, if in 2 weeks he's not the VP candidate, then they can just move on. But they are trying to build a team now, and this leads to my next point, Rob. And they need to sit down with him and talk to him and see where he's really at. Now they can still wait for the final answer from RFK Jr., Robert Kennedy Jr.'s, camp and what he decides. But if they know, there are reports that he already knows who he's going to pick and he's just going to announce it in a few weeks, they need to find out. Because, Rob, if Aaron Rodgers, let's say they do pick Aaron Rodgers and he's the VP candidate and Rodgers accepts. If I'm the Jets, I'm sure they can get out of that contract. I would think, right? You go to the league, you're like, look, you can't do both. And they can wash their hands of the Aaron Rodgers era. Four snaps, as long as it was, wash your hands of it. He shouldn't get his money if he's, walking away from the sport, even if it's just for this year. If I'm the Jets, Rob, and he ends up being the vice president candidate, I am trying my best to get out of this contract, move on, and I'm trading for Justin Fields. That's what I'm doing. And Tyrod Taylor, actually a nice backup to veteran who might be able to help Justin Fields. Somewhat similar skill sets. And so that would be what I'm doing. But enough is enough. I mean, again, and I don't mind him having these thoughts and even aspirations. I'm sure he probably never thought that this would come his way. At least
Anybody who'll sit there and tell you it's not flattering, they're lying to you, okay? It's flattering that somebody thinks of you in that ilk, Chris. But my only thing is, this is who he is. You can't ask somebody to change, to be different. You can't go out and get a guy and then think he's going to be different or he's not going to be out there a little bit. He's a little out there, and this fits with his brand 100% on where he is the last 4 years. So if there's anybody to blame, it's the Jets for not doing their vetting to understand who he is, to be. And I'm going to give the Jets just a little bit of a break because I don't see any official word from anybody. I don't, because that's the right move, is not to make an official comment on anything, Chris, until the shoe drops. When they announce that it's somebody else, Jesse, the Body Ventura, it's a non-issue. And you could say, hey, it was nice to be considered, but I never was offered that job, and I never said I was taking it. Like that would be the next
he
conversation.
could kill it. Like, and that's the thing too. And we discussed this on First Things First. Nick Wright and Kevin Wiles, my co-host, thought that this would linger even if he's not voted. I said, if it lingers, it's because he wants it to linger. Rob, he could dead it on his first comments after this. And so could the Jets. He could be like, look, it was like you said, it was an honor.
It was flattering.
I never thought that would come my way. So, I thought about it. I was like, man, let me really think about this. He didn't ask me. And so, obviously I'm not doing it. And I'm ready to, do what I've been saying, which is help the Jets win the Super Bowl and do our best. Like, you can kill it.
Story.
Now, he might not do that, Rob. To your point, he might, every week, he might start talking about the race or basically supporting Kennedy and saying stuff that's newsworthy about politics and creating distractions. But he could end it if he indeed wanted to. So we'll see, Rob. But it's very interesting and, man, you ain't lying. This is what they signed up for when they got Aaron Rodgers.